Hello there, welcome back to Brilliant Minds. Today we're going to talk about a boy who grew up in a small village in South Africa and ended up helping to change the whole world. His name was Nelson Mandela, and he became famous for standing up against unfair rules, fighting for equal rights, and choosing forgiveness even after being treated terribly. Let's begin our story. Nelson Mandela was born in 1918 in a tiny village called Mvezo, surrounded by green hills, noisy birds, and cattle tracks. His real name was Rolihlahla, which means troublemaker, a name that would turn out to be quite fitting. He loved running barefoot through the fields, playing stick-fighting games with friends, and listening to old stories told around the fire. Life was peaceful, but he began to notice something strange as he grew older. Black South Africans, like Nelson and his family, weren't allowed to go to the same schools, live in the same neighborhoods, or even sit in the same part of the bus as white South Africans. It was part of a system called apartheid, which means apartness, and it was incredibly unfair. As a teenager, Nelson went to school wearing a suit and tie, determined to learn as much as he could. He became the first in his family to attend university, where he studied law and dreamed of justice. But when he saw how badly people were treated simply because of the color of their skin, he decided to do something bold. He became a freedom fighter, not with fists or weapons, but with words, ideas, and peaceful protest. He joined the African National Congress and helped organize marches, petitions, and speeches calling for change. The government didn't like that. In 1962, Nelson was arrested and sentenced to life in prison. He would spend 27 years behind bars. Can you imagine that? That's longer than most of your parents have been alive. In his tiny prison cell on Robben Island, Nelson was only allowed one visitor every 6 months and could write just 2 letters a year. He worked crushing stones and was often lonely, but he never gave up. He kept learning, kept writing, and kept believing in peace. Many people thought he would come out angry and bitter. But when Nelson was finally released in 1990, after nearly 3 decades, he surprised everyone. He smiled. He forgave. And he said something remarkable, that he did not want revenge. He wanted to build a future where everyone could live together, black, white, young, old, in peace. 4 years later, Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. People lined the streets cheering and dancing. It was a moment of hope, of healing, and of history. He even invited one of his old prison guards to his inauguration, to show that kindness is stronger than hate. Nelson Mandela loved children. He believed they were the future. He once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." And he meant it. He spent his later years supporting schools, charities, and peace missions around the globe. And although Nelson Mandela passed away in 2013, his message lives on. In every child who speaks up when something's unfair, in every person who chooses kindness, and in every dreamer who believes the world can be better. So, what can we learn from Nelson Mandela? That even if the world feels unfair, we must never stop believing in justice. That being brave doesn't mean fighting, it can mean forgiving. And that real change doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen if we keep going. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon for another amazing story.